If somebody breaks into the house, who's going to get up and handle that?
It's definitely not going to be me.
You're listening to Marriage Mania, where we are audacious, sagacious, and tenacious for the Lord to uphold godly marriages and to raise fervent children who are countercultural and stand for biblical truth.
Welcome back. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Michael.
And today we're going to just have a little conversation because you know what? I'm not going to be the one protecting the house. I mean, I could if I was like truly trained in, some weaponry, like that would be pretty cool.
If you're like a Navy SEAL or something,
yeah, man,
you might get involved as well.
I did take
Taekwondo. There you go.
So
Hi-ya. You can do some karate chopping.
I could be like, hi-ya. Yeah. But today, let's get back to the topic. Today, we're going to talk about husbands and how husbands are actually the protectors. I mean, there's probably controversy around that, but because, wives can kind of protect because wives can get into mommy mode to protect their children.
There you go. Don't get in the way of a mama bear.
Yeah,
protecting her cubs. Sure. It's like, watch out.
Yeah, but I really want to hone in on what God calls husbands to do in the home, and it's really protecting. And that has a broad category. But before we really focus on each category, let's really talk about what protection really means from a godly standpoint.
Yeah, well, the guy is kind of called to be the overseer of his family. God says in Ephesians, husbands are to lead their wives as Christ leads the church. Yeah. And, how did Christ lead the church? I mean, he protected and provided for the church. He watched over the church as a good shepherd. And that's what, the husband and the father is called to do. Not that the wife can't do some of that as well, but you can really motivate a guy when you really kind of target that instinct in a guy, that desire to really be that overseer, protector, provider of his family. And when you instigate that and inspire that in a man and the husband and the father, you can really motivate him to get involved in the family. When that's kind of taken away, it kind of deflates a husband and father to be, what's my role here? What am I supposed to be doing? I guess I'm supposed to be, I know I'm supposed to be helping in the house, help changing the diapers and washing the clothes and stuff like that. But those are things that you kind of do as a guy because you want to get involved and you want to help. But it's not something that really excites a guy necessarily, but to be that protector, provider that out there that can really inspire him to get involved, to really feel like he's really doing something important for the family. And that can just really do a lot to inflate a guy. And that's why I think God calls men to be that protector, provider.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great overview of that because, if you think about the men in the Bible, when they went to war, I mean, they were protecting the flock, they were protecting their tribes, they were protecting their kingship. So they were out there protecting their families. And so that really kind of hones in on the husband's the leader, but also a warrior for the family, And I think about John chapter 15, verse 13, where it says, greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. And so I see that the husband is laying down his life for his wife, for his children. And that is protecting. And it's not necessarily you're in the line of fire every day, but there is a line of fire spiritually that comes and attacks the home and attacks the family, attacks the children, attacks the wife, attacks the marriage. And so I think that you're the front lines.
Oh, definitely. If you really want to mobilize a guy, mobilize his spirit, it's when, hey, there's something that's happening coming against my family. I need to protect my family. I need to get involved. That's something that really mobilizes a guy. And it kind of made me think of Abraham when Lot was taken captive. He gathered his trained men to go and rescue them, and he brought back Lot and the women and the children. And I really love when Moses, when he was out there after leaving Egypt, and he was just in the wilderness. He noticed that there were 7 ladies out there that were shepherds, and they were They were watering their flocks at the well, and these other shepherds came and pushed them off. This is our water. And Moses was like, whoa, I can't have that happen. And he went and kicked those shepherds out and allowed that. Yeah, it's like, man, you don't do that to ladies. That chivalry kind of instinct in a man, that you watch out for the ladies. And it's like, you don't just push them out of the way in order to water your flock. He's like, no, that's not what a guy is called to do. He's called to be that protector, provider. Not, oh, there's somebody weaker than me, I think I can push these ladies out and just water the flock ourselves. It's like, no, man, it's like ladies first, and let me help you water your flock. And if there's any left, then I'll water my flock. And it's just, that's what men are called to do, to be that protector, provider.
Yeah, I think that's great. And also makes me think about Ephesians 5, where it says that the husband loves his wife as his own body. So like, he's protecting himself. He's also protecting his wife because she is one with him. So I love that we're talking about protection, but there's also the spiritual protection over so many different aspects. So let's get into like some of the topics around what protection means. We can just tackle them one by one.
Well, I love how Deuteronomy 24:5 brings in more aspects of that protection. It talks about when a man is newly married, he shall not go out with the army or be liable for any public duty, but shall be at home for that year to be happy with his wife who he has.
And we know taken. That what that means. I mean, that's being intimate with your wife, caring for her, knowing her, getting to know like your home. Like there's so much in that verse that it's really about going deep and building a home together.
And look who was responsible for protecting the family and going out to war. It was when a man is newly married. The man was expected to go out and protect his family if there was an enemy coming against them. But what was even more important, though, especially if you were newly married, it's like, no, you focus on home. You just got married. You focus on establishing your home, starting your family, and getting your house built, as it were, and just doing everything to really get to know your new family and to spend time with them. That was what's most important. That's part of the protector that he's called to do, not only just to protect them from harm, physical harm, but protect them emotionally. You were in charge of their emotional well-being. Yeah. It's like if you see something that's, your family is hurting, there's something in between you that's causing discord, as that provider, you're on it. It's you are like, oh man, there's something that's not right with my family. There's something that's off with my kids. There's something that's off with my wife. What is it? And if I can't figure it out what it is on my own, then I go seek some trusted counsel, some trusted Christian counsel to intervene with that and help me, because that's also important too, the emotional well-being of my family. And if it's not healthy, then me as the shepherd of my family, I'm on it. Yeah. Because I want them to be healthy in every way.
Yeah. And it's like you said, being in tune with your wife. So that's being that intimate, like knowing her personality, knowing her character, knowing her heart, and knowing like when she's hurting. Even sometimes women can kind of keep it in, but like a husband, I know, like if I'm upset or something is hurting me, like you are tuned in. You're like, what's going on? You're super quiet. What's happening? Like, my personality, and that is like your job, like to know me, and I'm also to know you. But like as the leader, like you're not to just know me in just one way. You should know your wife in every single aspect of who she is, so that she feels that deep bond and connection to know, like, okay, he notices I'm really upset about this, so maybe it's the right time to talk about it. Or he knows I'm really scared about this, or whatever the situation may be. Like he is in tune with his wife.
Yeah, I love the way you put that. And husbands, they're called to lead their wife and their family as Christ leads the church. And one of the aspects of Christ's character, he said he's the good shepherd. And I know my sheep.
Yeah.
and they know me. And the sheep know my voice. They don't follow another. And that know in the Greek means not just know about, but you know them on an intimate level, on a close level. You are getting to know them. And that's part of our job as the protector, the shepherd. We are to shepherd our family, and we are to know our sheep. God gave us our family, our wife and our children, for our care. And he's our father, but he's also our father-in-law. And he's looking at the father and the husband to say, are you taking care of my daughter? You taking care of my children? And husbands are responsible. You can't take care of them if you don't know them. Do you know their birthday? Do you know what's their favorite color? What's their favorite restaurant? Do you know who their friends are? Do you know where if all of a sudden they're missing, do you know places where you can look to find them? Or are you like, I have no idea? It's funny, as a police officer, I took tons of missing persons reports and missing children's reports. If I went to the mother, I could get all kinds of information from them. They usually gave the report, but it was kind of funny. Whenever I got a father that gave the report, I'm like, what is their date of birth? I have no idea. How old are they? 9, 11? They might be 12.
That's not good, man.
What were they wearing? I have no clue what they put on this morning. What kind of clothes are they on? Not a clue. It was like they knew nothing about them. It's like that should not be. And I know mothers are often in tune more to those kind of smaller, what guys consider smaller details. But, the importance is in the details, and guys need to not only know the major things that we consider major, but also the little things, because that shows interest. That shows I'm interested in their life. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know what you think, why you think, especially on things we disagree on. It's like, tell me more. So I don't want to argue with you. I want to learn more about you and why you think that way, because that's when solutions present themselves. And when I'm talking to my children, who are your friends? And it's not to be nosy. Don't want to have that aspect to it, but it's just, I want to get to know you. And they can see the difference when it's like, I'm not just trying to look over your shoulder. I want to know who you are. And so that's why I'm asking these questions. Tell me about your day. Tell me more.
I think that's a great aspect of protecting, because you're protecting the heart. You're knowing the heart, but you're protecting that way that you can shield certain things and come in and rescue and be like the super husband and the super dad, to come in and shield from all those difficulties of life. And you're able to see when a wife is worked or burdened with so much stuff on her plate that she's like, I can't do it all. You're able to sweep in and help and protect in that area. Like, okay, it looks like you have a lot happening here. Let me help you with this. And I think those things are so important from a wife perspective, because they're like, oh, he cares about me. Oh my gosh. He's like seeing that I have all these dishes, or I have all this stuff on my plate, and he's helping me. Like, that is such a major turn of events in marriage. It truly is, because let's be honest, like, wives can kind of carry a lot more, because God made us as multitaskers, and we can carry that on. And sometimes we carry that so much that our husbands don't know where to plug in, but they can help by protecting those areas that, like, okay, I'll take this on. I'll take this. And like, hey, do you think you're taking on a little bit too much? Let's scale it back some. And that's kind of the job of the husband, to protect and guard from these things, because as wives, we could just get overburdened. I know for me, I can take on so much stuff, and it could feel like I'm over here, like, trying to sink or swim. But like, the husband can come in and say, okay, I think we're doing too much. Let's scale back. Let's take it a little bit easy, and let's see what we can do to help one another, so that we're not feeling that way.
Oh, I love that. And it's, it kind of reminded me of Psalm 23. I mean, when we talk about the good shepherd, Jesus, as our model, because we are to lead as Christ leads the church. So we need to be, Jesus is our model. It's like, we want to be that good shepherd for our family. And it just reminds me of what Psalm 23 teaches us, where the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. He provides for me. Amen. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. Yes. It's like, Lord, I see that you need rest. go down here by the still waters and rest, and you restore yourself, and let me take care of those dishes for you right now. Like you were saying, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. They're your protection. It's security. It's not overbearing. It's not domineering. This is something, your strength is security for me. I feel safe around you. I feel comfort around you. That's what the good shepherd is all about. And that's what husbands are called to be, that good shepherd. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. That I feel that security and comfort. And my heart just feels good. And I feel like I have grace and mercy around you, that you're not just being critical with me and criticizing me all. I feel like you're protecting my heart and my emotions. That is what the good shepherd is all about. And that's what the husband is called to be. As Christ is his model, the husband's called to be that good shepherd, that overseer, protector of his family, protects not only them physically, but the emotional well-being.
Yeah, and I love that, because that ties right into the covering. And I'm going to read that from 1 Corinthians 11:3, and it says, "But I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ, the head of a wife is her husband, and the head of Christ is God. Every man who prays or prophesies with his head covered dishonors his head, but every wife who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head, since it is the same as if her head was shaven. For if a wife will not cover her head, then she should cut her hair short. But since it is disgraceful for a wife to cut off her hair or shave her head, let her cover her head. For a man ought to not cover his head, since he is the image and glory of God, but a woman is the glory of man. For man was not made from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man. That is why a wife ought to have a symbol of authority on her head because of the angels." 1 Corinthians 11:3-10, which really depicts a beautiful picture that Christ is our ultimate head, right? And so the husband is to submit to Christ alone, not to the wife. And the wife is to submit to the husband. And that is the covering of a husband over his wife. And that's something that we wrote. We wrote that as part of the covering, the role of a biblical husband. That is the Bible study that we created. And that is all based on 1 Corinthians 11:3, where it's the covering, and the husband's, that's a protection. The husband is protecting the wife, because we as wives, we can go all over the place. Okay. And so we need a leader. There's a pecking order, right? You've got Christ, husband, wife, children. We're all in an order, and that's God's specific design. And you can't have two people lead in the home. You can't have a wife lead the husband. It's not tailored that way, and God did not design it that way. And as we are abiding in God's word, we're abiding in his structure and his design for marriage. It is to flow that way. God, husband, wife, children, and that's the design for marriage.
Yes, and I love that covering aspect where God describes the husband as the covering.
Yeah.
And how is that covering described in Song of Solomon? I love what the Shulamite said when she talked about his banner. His banner over me is love. In other words, his covering over me is love. When I think of his covering over me, that banner that would go through the military, every military squad would have their own banner to signify who they are and proudly say, "This is my squad," and this is his banner saying, "This is my wife," and his banner, his covering over me and my family, I characterize by one word: love. Just like God is love, that love defines God so much that it defines who he is. He is love. And that's what our leadership as the shepherd of our family should be defined. Does our wife, if she would define our shepherd leadership, would it be, your banner, your covering over me and our family is love. I just feel so much security and safety around you that's how I would characterize your leadership over our family, as just very loving. And I feel very safe and secure around you.
I absolutely love that. I love the banner over me. That is just like a rescue, right? We know that ultimately Jesus is our rescue, our redeemer, our father, our protector, our covering, but also he gave us a husband, wives. So you have a husband, and God really created him to be that leader and to be that protector over your home. So he's here saying, I've got a banner over you, and I want to protect you and guard you. I want to know you. And that is what husbands should be doing in their homes because they're following Christ. And if they're not following Christ, pray for them that they would be that protector and that husband that God has called them to be. And, we love the book of Ruth, and just thinking about the book of Ruth and how she had asked Boaz to cover her. And like, you might want to explain a little bit more about that, but that was just so amazing.
Yeah, that was beautiful. While he was asleep near the threshing floor, and she came up to him and she said, cover the corner of your garment over me. And that was a way of really proposing to him, to saying, I want you to be my kinsman redeemer. I lost my husband. There was a law in the Hebrew culture where the closest kinsman, if he was able to, was required to marry someone who lost their husband, the widow, if they were in a position to do so, and to also redeem their property. And she had property that he needed to redeem, or it was going to be lost because she couldn't afford to hold on to the property anymore. And she's saying, look, I need a kinsman redeemer. Will you be my kinsman redeemer? And he wasn't technically required to do so. If you examine it closely, he could have said no. He didn't quite fit the requirements of a kinsman redeemer, and he may not have been. He could have said, I'm not really in the position to be able to do this. That's was a statement he could have said as well. But he agreed to be her kinsman redeemer. It was just a beautiful way that she asked by saying, will you cover the corner of your garment over me? Will you be my covering? Will you be my protector, kinsman redeemer? And that's what every wife is asking of every husband. Amen. Or should be. Yeah. And that's what every husband should take on as his duty, as God has called him to be that shepherd of his family, that covering of his family. And that covering needs to be characterized by love and security, that you are the shepherd of your family. You are watching over them, and your rod and your staff, they just comfort your family. That protection just comforts them. And when you see that they are just overwhelmed by something, you lead them beside the still waters. You help them restore their soul because you see that there's an issue going on. How can I step in and how can I help? And if it's something beyond my capabilities, I'm just not able to help here, I can't figure out what to do, I'm going to seek out help. I'm going to seek out trusted Christian counsel in order to step in and help me get my house in order, because I'm the shepherd and I know my sheep and they know me, and I can tell when something is not right, and I'm going to do what I can to help make it right.
Amen. That is so well said. So the covering, it's so perfect. The covering, which is the role of a biblical husband. There's so many things and so many aspects around that. And so this is a charge to husbands to be that covering, to protect your wives and know them in a deep and profound way that nobody else knows, and protect your home and having Christ as the center. So we are just so thrilled that we could share about the covering, the role of biblical husband. That is one of the key things that we talk about, is the protector. And so you can check that out in the comments. Also, if you found this podcast to be helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps us to get out there. And if you want ways to support us, please check out our comments. We do this because we love Jesus and we want to change lives, change marriages, and leave legacies. So check out the comments for ways you can support us. Until next time.
God bless.
Guess what, Michael?
What?
We are going somewhere on a trip.
Where could it be?
Kentucky.
Oh, wow. To the Ark Encounter?
Yes! Yay! Oh my gosh! We're going to be part of the Ark Encounter for the Culture Proof Conference happening July 16th through the 18th. We're so excited because we're going to be there with Mickey and Will Addison from Culture Proof. We absolutely love them. They are just people of God and people that just love to go against the culture because they want to stand for biblical truth. And I love that. And we're going to see Ken Ham, Israel Wayne. We're going to see Abraham Hamilton. So many people. And we're just so thrilled. We're so excited. If you are around and you want to go to the Ark Encounter, come see us. Again, July 16th through the 18th. You can visit cultureproof.net and get your tickets today. We are so thrilled. Let them know that Marriage Mania sent you. See you there.